And it's Dan and James talking about the Villa games. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the AVFC Faithful Podcast, joined by myself, Dan, and of course, James. And we are reviewing a victory. It did not take that long, did it, James? And, it's the first week in a while I predicted us to not win by like 4 goals, and we go and do.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It's what we needed. It was one of those games I enjoyed watching. We didn't even have to really break sweat to beat them, and it was just, as I say, it was the sort of perfect game to get you back into your stride and set us up for Wednesday.
Yeah, well, we were watching it, and when the first goal went in, I said to my missus, I was like, "We need to win this by about 4." She was like, "You say that all the time, though," and I was like, "Yeah, but we have got to beat these now. Like, you can't." When that first goal went in, I was like, "Yeah, we can't lose to these. Like, not as in it's impossible to, but we can't afford to, because those are the games where I think I put a tweet out. You look back, and if you win it like 1-0 or 2-0, you're like, oh, we bump that goal difference back up, or for our case, get it back to not being in minus figures was huge. So, I mean, it was one of those games when it, like you said, it was just, I don't want to say it was so comfortable, because it wasn't just it wasn't like a pure domination. It was just we didn't even it didn't feel like we got out of second gear at all. Definitely not in the second half anyway.
No, the thing is, I think this Everton side is so toothless. Even when they're 1-on-1, you think they're not scoring. So it just felt comfortable. It felt like a stroll. We didn't have to get a second gear. We started the game how we wanted to. 2 quick goals, and then you're in control. And Everton crumbled, but we had control of that game tactically from the minute one. To be fair, we looked comfortable. It was night and day from the Newcastle game, and even, we were saying how last week, obviously, we didn't think that we were that bad to be hammered 5-1. I think Newcastle were just clinical, and you could say that about us on Sunday. I mean, we could have had more. But we didn't have to work for it. But I think that was all about our game. We didn't let them rest on the ball, and we looked comfortable on the ball. It was everything that we needed out of that game, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's not only that, but it was the performers that we needed to have a game, didn't we? We were talking about how, I mean, the obvious two, Cash and Bailey, we were desperate for them to they couldn't afford a bad game. Well, personally, I didn't think, obviously, that Bailey would actually start the game. But I think I messaged you beforehand. Bailey starts and you back them because they start. I wasn't expecting it. I think you were, obviously.
Yeah, I was.
But again, I kind of like that, because I mean, Bailey's 1 game a season. Even if he does only have 1 good game, it is against Everton at home. So, I mean, it would have been like sacrilege not to play him against him. But I mean, there was so many good performances out on that pitch, and yeah, well, I mean, toothless Everton. I mean, is it Ghana? Seemed to be their only real sort of on the ball threat, and even then, that wasn't.
No,
I can remember one attack, and I think it was Danjuma, and it was saved by Martinez, and that was it.
Yeah, they had the chance from the corner as well, Mopai at the back post.
Yes,
Yeah. But even then, even when it fell to him, you just think, well, he's not scoring. Like,
especially because it's Neil Mopai.
Yeah, between Martinez being such a good keeper and Mopai being as useful as, well, nothing. He's just not useful at all. And then the fact that Everton just don't worry you in the slightest. I mean, I feel for their fans. I think they're in for a tough season at the moment. I think they're going to have to do a bit of business in the transfer market over the next week and a half, because they were really poor. I mean, how like we're watching the game and it felt like we just hammered them and we scored good goals, but 3 of them really they were just sort of handed to us. We did put the pressure on them to give away those things, but I mean, Pickford coming out trying to roundhouse kick fucking Ollie or whatever he was doing, and then the throw in for Bailey's, they just weren't. They were asleep, the Everton defence, and then Michael Keane basically handing it on a plate for Bailey to smash home, and then Ashley Young at the age of 38 is still one of Villa's best performers. So I'll give it to Duran. He did press well to win that ball, and then it was a nice finish after a bit of a dodgy touch to take it quite close to the keeper. But he's had no pre-season, comes into the game and does that. It's a real boost for him ahead of the season. It'd be interesting to see what sort of minutes he gets and the impact he has.
Yeah, a beautiful game where 4 of your goal scorers aren't your strikers as well. I mean, you got Diaby and Watkins both coming off with no goals, and you still scored 4. I think one of the key points for me was seeing Louise on penalties, and obviously now we know that it's Louise and McGinn, both are penalty takers, which I don't know why, but I do really like a left-footed penalty taker.
Yeah,
Um,
it worries me a little bit. I don't know why. I think
okay.
left-footed footballers are some of the best to watch, but I don't know what it is about them on penalties. It makes me worry,
I don't know why. I think,
except for Gareth Barry.
oh, yeah, but like I think it took over for me because that was one of my main worries was when we got the penalty. I was like, especially because Watkins won it, I was like, oh, he's going to really want to take this one. And then
Yeah,
seeing him nowhere near the picture, I thought, oh, that's like, I'm glad we got that plugged because we were all saying as soon as he missed that one in preseason, we were saying that I think it's time we move on to a new taker. And Louise was, I think, quite high up on the list for a lot of people. I was surprised it wasn't Luca Dean, but then again, with the reports coming out this weekend, I'm now not surprised it was Luca Dean because why would you have your penalty taker someone you're probably chucking out on loan? So yeah, and obviously McGinn's goal, that's exactly the type of goal I want to see McGinn scoring.
yeah,
Obviously I love his little long ranges. But seeing him work his way into the box, beat his man to the front post, and then tap it away on his right foot. All right, I mean it's not like an 18-yard volley, but it's still a good technique, and I love the movement he makes. And Bailey again, that is exactly what we miss from Bailey is not seeing those movements. That so many times we see him get that ball where he is and then cut onto his left and hit the first defender, and then
yeah,
this one time he takes it to the byline and chucks it in. And I mean he knew he had the beating of Ashley, which is of course I think that game probably sort of showed us why Unai did decide to let Ashley go because I mean I guess he hasn't got the yard of pace that Unai wants for his fullback.
yeah,
So that was really stand out for me was seeing our 4 goals be scored by say unlikely contenders. You would expect like Bailey to score a goal and I guess Duran to score a goal, but wow, no, because I thought Duran would get a red card before he scored for us. So
yeah,
I'm buzzing for him, and like I said, I think it could really kickstart something for him. I love the way that he just his exact physique is how I want to see our strikers. I like
yeah.
seeing just a big, powerful striker like that. Just do and I mean a left-footed finish. Just saying.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was. I think a lot of people are on the same wavelength after he scored that. It was almost like his Benteke
Yeah,
moment. It was what was needed for him. I think because he's come on now and again at the end of last season, and he looks at we were saying he looks a handful. He's
yeah,
powerful, he's fast, and he looks like he's got a good shot on him. But I think at times he was struggling to know what to do in an Emery system. Yesterday, no, yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday
yeah,
when oh my god, it feels so long ago. But yeah, it wasn't just his finish. I think he was doing really well with the ball, getting involved in the build up and tracking back, pressing. He looked like with some time to gain fitness because he did look like he was blowing after about 5 minutes already. I think he needs some time to build up that fitness and really understand what his role is. But yeah, it was a really positive start for him.
yeah. It's I don't know what it is about Duran, but I think he was one of the key players for me that I really wanted to see kick on this year. Obviously, I think what was really key for me was him coming on ahead of Archer, and that spoke a lot of volumes, really, didn't it? Because, and I mean, it's not fair to judge him on the minutes he got, but I think Archer just doesn't look as prime ready as Duran. But I would say that I think if Archer's in the same position as Duran, he would score as well. So it's got nothing on him, but I think he deserves minutes, and I think he deserves to be playing in the Premier League. As a if not starting then a first choice sub. So it's kind of got to the point where when I saw Duran come on, I was like, I kind of do hope Cameron does at least go out on loan, or if not, is sold with a buyback because it's a lot of these players you see, and we'll probably chat about them later. But you want to see these players that actually they've got some talent to actually be able to showcase it. And of course, we want to see it for Villa, but it's just not the case. I mean, we've got 11 players. You can sub on 5 people, but realistically, you don't want your squad to be any higher than 20 players. No manager wants too many, too many cooks in it. So
Yeah.
it was a shame, but I think it did show. That was my showcase. Really, was that the Duran's the first choice striker sub, and I think Unai even said, didn't he, in his post match, something along the lines of, obviously we need Duran. He's our striker. He's our second striker to Ollie. So, yeah, it spoke volumes, I think.
It did. I think what Duran has is because he can impose himself in a game. He doesn't seem to get lost in the game, whereas I think Archer can in the Premier League with that sort of the intensity and the physicality. When he drops deep, I think he can get knocked off the ball quite easy. I think what Archer wants is to just play on the shoulder,
Yeah,
and find himself in the box. But with how deep we build up sometimes, I think you need that player that can drop in and collect the ball. Duran's got that physique and that sort. I think he's got that first touch to be able to do it
yeah,
and the strength for it. So, yeah, I really can see, which is a shame now, but I can see Archer being sold. To be honest, if a club can pay what we're asking, because I think that we will be asking for quite a high price for someone that's never really played in the Premier League. Minutes here and there. So we'll see how that evolves. But yeah, the Duran, I don't know. There's something about him. I know what you mean. That is really encapsulating, really engrossing, and
yeah.
you think like, yeah, he's got something that looks right in this squad. So we will see how he does over the next few weeks, and I think that the Conference League will be a really good place for him to gain some fitness and minutes.
Yeah, and I mean Everton are in trouble, aren't they? I mean, if only I could go back and look at my Premier League table, but yeah, I worry for them. No, I don't, but I'd worry if I was them because that is it was just, like I said, it was just sort of empty, and I understand them having they have got striker issues. That was very unlucky for how Calvert-Lewin went off. I mean, I guess I could just say don't probably try and jump into Emi Martinez because you will
Yeah,
probably come off worse off.
yeah, brick wall.
Exactly, and but that doesn't account for how poor they were defensively, and it was just gap after gap after gap. If genuinely when Diaby hit his volley and it
Oh,
got pushed onto the post, I was adamant it was in, and I just went,
yeah,
oh, proper Gary. And then
yeah,
I
the
thought about my
buzz.
corner, I was like, oh, like that. It was so good. And that would have been both of his goals, right-footed volleys.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
Telling you, AVFC stat would get on that, but that would have been a hell of a stat. I guarantee he'd be the first ever for Villa, at least. So,
Yeah, he,
yeah,
he was. I think he was really good in general.
yeah,
Again, yeah, the link up with him and Watkins is really nice, and yeah, I've found it really interesting how he's been dropping deep and collecting the ball. He's sort of left Ollie to be the person that runs in behind, even though he has that pace to do it as well. How he's dropping in and collecting the ball, linking up with Bailey, linking up with Ollie and McGinn. It's really, really good to see. But then obviously he's picking up that space in the box to score as well, or be close to scoring. He was really unlucky. It was a good save, to be fair, from
yeah.
Pickford. Saw a good joke about Pickford. Someone said more like Jordan Pickford at the back of the net. that really that really made me happy. But yeah, Diaby's just looking like he's going to be a whole lot of fun. You
Yeah.
know, for the money we paid, I think it looks like we're getting what we paid for. It is early days, obviously, but you've got to get carried away with it because so far it's been really thrilling to watch him.
It's also nice just to get carried away in it. I think we get so caught up with well, Facebook Villa and Twitter Villa sometimes where it can't be too positive. Dare you get ahead of yourselves or say something exciting. But again, he's had 2 games now where one game where he scored and he looked bright in a game where we didn't dominate, and a game where we dominated he hasn't scored and he still looked really bright. Lewis Price, actually, Lewis PAVFC on Twitter, replied to our tweet on the at AVFC Faithful Pod. Make sure you drop it a follow. Saying that the Bailey and Diaby link up when Diaby is up front. That was his key takeaway from the game, and how unbelievable Bailey was. I know we've mentioned it already, but I think we spoke about it again. It was Warsaw, wasn't it? No, not Warsaw. Lazio at Warsaw, where they had their link up, Bailey and Diaby, and I think we were talking about after that, saying how that's something to watch out for. And it doesn't surprise me watching them together like that, because I mean, it was nice to watch it, and it's nice to see Bailey play well, because he's one of those players that when he does play well, it looks great as well. And it feels great, because it's great when you see a player have a reaction. Now, the problem with Bailey is he going to continue it, or are we going to keep doing the same old where we're having one on, one off? I think Wednesday will be a good game for him. I hope he plays Wednesday, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess our front three options really are dwindling a little bit now if we keep getting injuries to our players. But I guess we could touch on that a little bit as well. Obviously, we lost Coutinho to what Emery said it was a hamstring, didn't he? So big up, I think it was Talking Barca on Twitter, or a Barca account that said it was an ACL and had me panicking for 5 minutes. So I found out there was no source with that. They just said it. But that is a real shame, because all right, he wasn't setting it alight, but again, he looked bright again when he came on, and he looked like he was ready to make an impact. And you know, I just really, really wanted it to go. I wanted it to be the fairy tale of having Felipe Coutinho play for Villa. While it didn't start as that, it looked like it was getting that way recently, and it's just a killer, isn't it, man? Having players like that out, because he's just that little bit extra, that little bit different when you can chuck it on.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, because again, he was looking pretty good on the ball and linking up nicely, and he had a couple of efforts, one on target, one that ended up in Wolverhampton. And but when you think about it, that we've still got Zaniolo to come
Yeah,
into the squad. He's going to add that sort of magic to the team as well, because of his physicality, his trickery, and his goal threat. And then you think Ramsey will be back after the international break.
yeah,
Moreno's close. These are like new signings coming back, and then whoever else we bring in over the next few days, because with the outgoings, that's creating space in the squad, not as
yeah,
in like they were players that we were using, but you're taking off the wage bill, you're bringing in some fees. I think that we could see 2 or 3 in maybe. Who we bring in, who knows? It could be really interesting. So transfer deadline day, maybe we'll actually have a sign in them for once. But yeah, it is a shame that it was another injury, and we'll get the shirts out for Coutinho again next week. We'll just go through them every week. There's going to be someone, I swear. But you just have to get on with it. Really, it's one of those. It's the frustrating part of football. Sometimes you can just be really unlucky with these sort of injuries, and for us, it just keeps coming at the moment. But
yeah.
we've still got a decent squad. I think the versatility is helping us, which I think that's the idea of it. You can sort of switch up how we're playing.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that about with Moreno coming back, because if we were to sign another left back, which looks likely with Luca Dean probably out on loan, I mean, you could see Moreno pushed further up, with Powell there, or with I'm not saying we get him, but say Nuno Tavares or Acuna there. It is interesting, isn't it? And yeah, could you imagine the transfer deadline day where we actually have something interesting? And I mean, wow, transfer deadline day is I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Villa are playing that day.
The first, it's the first, isn't it? I don't think. Is it? Yeah, it's the first. The first, isn't it?
I thought it was the second or third.
No, I
I
think it's
might
the
be getting
third.
mixed up because it got changed on Football Manager for me earlier.
Oh.
That
That'd be it.
happened. That's what's happened there.
That'd be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, either way, it'll be interesting for us, because obviously, I mean, I'm not going to complain, but we've got a busy couple of weeks coming up around Villa, so it'd be nice to see us maybe do something different that we haven't done for a while. I think, I guess, I think my main worry really is who am I going to get on the back of my shirt next? I've got
Zaniolo.
Diaby come in. I see. I was thinking that, but what if I get that? Because I get that, and then I guess we've got the third strip coming out. So I would like an Acuna or something on the back of my top. I always wish I got Luna on the back of my shirt.
I was a massive fan of Amavi, because
Oh yeah,
It might not have been the greatest defender, but my God, he could cross a ball and
Oh
pass a
yeah.
ball. He's unreal at that. But I don't know what it is like about Zaniolo. There's just some sort of pizzazz around it that
He's tall.
if I
I'm
was,
telling you, it's because he's an attacking player that's tall.
it's really exciting. Like he really does have the potential to do something really class here, and
Yeah.
I've convinced myself he's scoring an absolute screamer on his debut. So I'm looking forward to him starting, hopefully in the next couple of games if he's fit or if he's able to. I honestly don't know the situation at the moment, so I'm patiently waiting for him to be coming into the fold. So that's going to
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, I'm sort of waiting for the Villa tweet, where we get our little fitness update. I'd like to see him if he's fit enough, on the bench on Wednesday, and then yeah, seeing him on Sunday would be great. I mean, I guess no better time than to play a fresh leg Burnley. I guess the other news that came out today is wow, it looks like for certain that Keenan Davis is probably going to Hull for £1 million, which is an absolute bargain. I think he will do a really good job down there for him. And looks like it's likely that Philogene Pace will be leaving permanently. At the moment, a £5 million bid, should we say, is floating around from Hull again. But interesting because obviously Keenan, he needs to leave. He's not going to get minutes here, and he deserves to be playing. I love Keenan Davis. That it was against Norwich when I went to go watch him. We beat Norwich. I think that was Gabby's last goal for us actually. And he nearly lobs the keeper. He like side volleys it, goes over and hits the bar, I think it was, or just over the bar. I loved him from that minute, and it's a real shame it never kicked on for him. However, obviously, I think the other one is a bit more of a punch to the gut, especially for the AVFC Faithful podcast, because I mean, somebody might have said that he wanted to see him start yesterday, and now he might be leaving the club.
Yeah,
But yeah, interesting, isn't it, James, seeing him go? If he does, that is, it's not confirmed, but it's everywhere, isn't it? And
yeah,
um,
it is. It's one of those like the reports are all that it seems that Emery wants him to be part of the squad, but he would only be a squad player, which makes sense. He's not played a lot of. He's not played any Premier. No, but he's played a couple of minutes of Premier League
yeah,
football.
not a lot though.
No, that was about 3 years ago, and he obviously at this point in his career wants to be starting, and that's fair enough. And that it will be a shame to see him go because, as I said months ago, I thought he's got something to add to the squad with his play style. But if that's not the case, that's not the case. And if we are shifting a few of these youngsters that aren't quite there yet, and we're bringing in decent money, that's straight profit that goes towards more signings that have experience and could add something to the team. So it's the reality of football, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's very unlikely that you do make it through the academy. It's one out of a generation usually. So yeah, we'll see how that progresses. And as I say, the next week and a half could be really interesting, really busy with ins and outs. So I am honestly open and expecting anything.
yeah, yeah. It's all also sort of strange because we haven't had. I guess Tielemans kind of was, but we're waiting for that surprise signing, really, aren't we? And I'm sure they've got it up their sleeves coming. So it'd be interesting to see, they come out of the woodwork and go, oh look, here's João Felix or something like that. Not obviously João Felix, but a signing like that.
Yeah,
Would be
I,
really
I think
interesting.
I think there's one that's gonna you know come out of nowhere. Maybe not be one of those that's like no reports, but one that goes really quick towards the end of the
Yeah,
window where where Fabrizio's like, oh yeah, there's a rumor, and then 30 minutes later we've signed him.
yeah,
I could see that sort of thing, and I really do think that the club are holding out for something big, and that's why we haven't seen like another forward come in yet, like a
mm,
centre forward. We'll see, because I would love to know what Emery sees Zaniolo's role as, whether that's in the front two or whether it's wide, because then you sort of know what maybe to expect to
yeah,
come in. So it's hard to say at the moment, isn't it?
definitely. It'd be interesting to see Wednesday, what the rotation is and how it fits. If we see, for example, like Duran start or perhaps just still start with Watkins. Personally, I'd quite like it to be a as full strength as we can get. Whilst obviously, I think what the aim really is start with a full strength, get a couple of goals, and then do a big old rotation. Half time, 50 minutes in. And that's how you're giving them the rest. These players can play 3 games a week. I've got all the faith in the world in them, considering also the fact that they are just going up to Scotland helps as well. So yeah, I guess we should probably talk about the Hibs game coming up Wednesday. I want to say 5:30.
5:45 kick off.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew there was 17 in it. So, and it is I know a lot of people worried about it. BBC Scotland, and
Or
obviously
it's on the iPlayer, I
the
think, as well.
iPlayer, yeah, they're showing it. So, rest assured, you will be able to watch it because I know that tickets were an absolute nightmare for it. And I saw the criteria and I went, that is harsh because I don't know if you saw, but it was 19 aways down to 11,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
a bit of a
Madness.
silly jump. So, and 1,000 tickets. So, look, I cannot bring myself to say this is piss easy and we should breeze through it because we've still not played in Europe yet, and it's a European tie, and
Yeah.
all right, it's the playoff. All right, we probably should be beating Hibs, but it doesn't mean we are going to. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are leading up to a game like this because it's a strange one, isn't it? Because we're back in Europe, but we're not there yet, almost.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great being on in a European fixture on Wednesday. Just take that in the first place is just
Yeah,
really, really nice to be back in that sort of sense. But yeah, we're not there yet, and it won't be a walk in the park. I don't think. I think when you go up to Scotland, they're gonna be raucous up there, and they're gonna push the team on. But the quality should shine through.
yeah,
I've said this before, and we lost to Stevenage, but it really should, be a professional job, a 1 or 2 nil, I think, up there. And honestly, I'd take that happily. No injuries, clean sheet, score a goal or two, bring it back to Villa Park, and finish your business then, and then look forward to the group stage draw, hopefully.
yeah,
But I don't know too much about Hibs. I was reading someone's skate report on them earlier, and they said that they are quite leaky and that they're prone to shooting from outside the box and stuff. So it'll be interesting. Um, I do think that will be mostly a strong team. Maybe 1 or 2 changes at most. Maybe Carlos coming in or something, and maybe Olsen starts. I don't know, but
yeah.
I expect a pretty strong team. McGinn will start.
Yes,
McGinn will start. So,
yes.
but
It
I
has
do
to. It's
think,
only fair, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. I do think it'll just be a professional job, and it'll be, you know, really nice to watch us again in a form of European football. And I think the players have to take that in. That's why I think as well it will be a strong team because,
Yeah.
it's their first taste of European football for some of them in such a long time. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Theme tune will be on as well, won't it? So,
Ah, yeah,
the
it's gonna
what was it? The table ladders chair match fight for the custody of John McGinn, isn't it? So
be. Yeah,
it's it's an important game this. I think actually I do just want to say it because I just saw it and it made me laugh a bit, so I need to find it again. But it's a Villa fan schedule going to Hibs actually to watch us play. It did make me giggle. So their schedule is go to work, leave Cheltenham at 9 p.m., go to Birmingham, hour and a half wait there to New Street, 23:22 to Crewe, then to Manchester, wait there from 1 till 5 a.m., and then go from there to Edinburgh till 8:30, and then they're there Wednesday morning. So this is what it's all about now. This is what we've got coming to us. No more worrying about just getting in a car and bundling yourself out to Newcastle away. We're going country hopping now, and hopefully this is the start of something really special, and a lot of people get to experience that. And maybe it's quite good actually that our taste is actually not too far away, and it's almost like a warm up, isn't it?
yeah.
This is what it's like traveling away again. Remember, like I guess all right, we don't really need our passport unless you're flying, so. But still, keep the passports in the drawer and get ready
I
for
don't,
it
I've got
properly for the
someone saying
club.
that they have to put in the passport stuff for it. So I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, it's a little taste before we play some Lithuanian, Croatian, and Latvian teams in the groups. So yeah, if we make it. As again, I don't want to get too ahead of
No.
ourselves. We should make it.
No, we should. Well, yeah, look, I've got to be perfectly honest and say it's not something we should be going in worried about, but I always think you should still have an eye on the fact that it's European competition and underdogs have won games before. The Celtic Barcelona game comes to my mind constantly. I did just want to say when you said prone to shooting from outside the box, that is quite literally a football manager slogan I can think of in my head of when I've got the green and the red for how the teams are performing. It's all I can think about now. Is I could just think now, I really need someone to draw up a scout report on Hibs, but in the FM style, because I think that's the way my brain can now only deduce it.
Yeah.
But it'd be good. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, I think we've got to get to the point now where we can all worry about tactics or signings, whatever. Look, we're actually in a European competition and it's time to enjoy that. We worked so hard to get there last year. It's time to reap the benefits, and the travelling faithful deserve to be going up and enjoying it. And we've got to enjoy it because it could. You can't say that it's always going to happen. You can't say it's going to be here next year or the year after. So, just live and breathe Europe this year because God, it's never happened for me, has it? So, and fingers crossed I can head up to Villa Park for a European game because that'll be dream number one ticked off the box, I think. So, yeah, exciting.
I'm looking forward to it. I got my
Wednesday
tickets
night
sorted
game.
for it next Thursday. Well, I think it says TBC on date and time, but yeah, tickets booked for the home leg, and I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I might be there. Who knows?
Yeah.
More to come on that news. Look, you'll be waiting on tenterhooks. Is Dan going? Is Dan go? Oh, you'll have to wait. But what you won't have to wait for is 3 points for Villa. I still haven't got a song for it. I'm gonna have to outsource, I think, for this now. Look, I've heard there's talks that perhaps Oasis may get back together just to perform our song. So, I've had to tell Elton John, look, retire, just give yourself time off, stop trying to produce our songs for the podcast. So, it will come. But yeah, I'm very happy, by the way, because we've got the responses are going up to this on the Twitter account. The Twitter account which has got over 1,000 followers. There we go. And Dan has his Twitter account back. Do not lie your age, kids. Do not ever lie about your age. Just be honest and wait. So I'm going to kick off with the response point for Villa. Now there was 4 great ones. I'm afraid there is only 3 points for Villa. So I can only pick one. However, I did like this one, and it's about the depth of our squad. Actually, it's something that we haven't quite touched on yet. I think we touched on it in an attacking sense, but I should be able to say this name. I don't know why I can't. Anti-Facile, maybe. It sounds quite French. I like that. It says the depth of our squad, even with Moreno, Ramsey, Mings, and Buendia on the injury list, we sent on Coutinho, Tielemans, and Carlos for the final 30 minutes. I can't recall a time when the squad was this strong. I can simply say it's never been this strong since I've supported them, obviously since 2010. So that's 13 years. I guess you could say probably O'Neill, maybe. Even then, it wasn't totally an 18 that was completely strong, was it? So.
I think it is really a strong team. As you take those 4 out, and we've still got some good options, and
Yeah,
still looking to bring more in. We've
Zaniolo's
dealt.
going to be put onto there, so.
Yeah, I mean we've had Mings get injured, and we've bought a ready-made replacement, even though they're meant to be playing together. We've got someone that can step in straight away. So yeah, the squad depth is there or getting there, and it's took a while, and I think that it looks solid now.
Yeah,
I think they could do some tweaks, obviously, but considering what we used to have, I think yeah, we do look like we've progressed in that sense.
definitely. And it's something that we were so adamant to have, especially for Europe. So I'm happy about it. I don't see how anyone can complain about it. And if we're adding even more to it, that's sort of silly, really, isn't it? And seeing Duran come on how he did as well, that's even more excitable. And weirdly saying it, but I'm not even upset with having Olsen as the backup. So I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
I've got my point now. My point is BBC Match of the Day 2. Andros Townsend stated that Villa will be in Everton's situation in 3 years' time when we hit a brick wall with financial fair play. My point to that is not all ex-players need to be pundits. Because all he's done is look at Twitter, seen a Birmingham fan or a Newcastle fan, or weirdly enough, Chelsea fans at the moment, who are slating Villa all the time, saying, "Oh, I'll wait till FFP catches up." Would like to remind them that we did sell an academy prospect for £100 million pure profit. Not only that, but when we sold Danny Ings, for example, we got a profit on him. So look, my point is, as I said, not everyone needs to be talking all the time. And I think that Andros Townsend would provide a better insight around actual football rather than the financial side, because he's just wrong. And Everton are run horrendously, and Villa aren't. Simple as, and it doesn't take an idiot to see that.
Yeah, well, as I said, we will be coming towards the end of that Jack profit soon, but that is the reason that we've been fine. And then obviously looks like we're starting to sell academy graduates, and then we're also with the emergence of Saudi. I don't know how many are going to struggle with FFP really.
Yeah,
If we ended up selling Coutinho there, if we ended up selling Dean there, whether it's now or whether it's in a season's time or something, I think we will end up selling a few players to bring in more. That's the sort
yeah,
of reality outside of the Champions League clubs and the big guns. But we do have those saleable assets if we needed to, and still be able to spend money on bringing in what we need. But yeah, I'm not worried about FFP really. I think we have that under control. To be honest, yeah, I think I'd imagine financial advisors are sort of on top of that.
you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. My point for the Villa was on Pau Torres. I think he stepped into that role and he didn't have much defending to do. I think he does have to work on his 1v1 defending, but you saw what he brings to the side on the ball. And I saw someone's point, I think it was earlier, that he's as much of a leader on the ball as Tyrone Mings is off it, because he was conducting everything on the ball. You could see that he was annoyed when there wasn't movement, or he was trying to find the movement that was ahead of him. He was just classy. He just never really broke a sweat on the ball. He looked comfortable the whole game. And, him and Conte had a good game together, and both of them looked really comfortable playing it. So, yeah, after the sticky game he had last week and the stick that he got from Newcastle fans, which was inevitable, I think it was a really solid game from Pau.
Yeah, and it was so important as well because no matter how good players are in other leagues, there's always the slight worry in how they adapt, especially a player that we desperately needed to be on it from the start. And like you said, he really was. And it's nice being able to see a comfortable left-footed centre back again. And as much as we're going to miss Tyrone, it helps knowing that we're not going to miss him as much in that back line, especially not in his position, let's say. Because and to do it at home as well on your home debut, his first full debut, that 5 out of 5 for me. I'm very happy with him. Again, like you said, the one-on-one defending could do with the work. I think Unai mentioned that as well. I think I saw. So, I'm not. He's not the perfect centre back, but it's so great to have a player of his level slide into the team the way he has.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Well, a lovely 3 points for Villa, and just a lovely, positive, happy podcast. These are always the best ones to record, and I mean, you're just going to have two giddy Villa fans waiting for Wednesday's game now, and I feel I might kick my feet with excitement or whatever. It's all very exciting, isn't it? And then Burnley again. We'll talk about it properly in our next episode, but I think that'll be an interesting game and not as easy as we probably thought it might be a couple of years ago. But it's exciting, and just counting down the days to watch Villa again, and it's a weird phase to be in, isn't it? And
it is. Well, we've got so many in the space of 2 weeks. We've got those 4 games, and each game's going to come round quick. So great for us. The players have got to get used to that, and I'm really excited to watch on Wednesday now.
Can't wait. Remember, I play it for everyone. Sat at home watching it. It'll be good. It'll be good. And well, now you've divested into the AVFC Faithful Podcast. Why don't you drop a like and and hit the subscribe button and go on, tap that bell. You don't want to miss another video of ours, podcast video. Who knows? Maybe we have an episode dropping this week where we chat to someone about a specific film that they're executively producing. Who knows? Maybe we've done that. Maybe we haven't. You have to find out. But until then, from Dan and James, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.